A 60-meter gas crater burns for decades. One lake approaches pH 10.5. Beyond disputed legends, the real question is how engineers forced routes through hostile ground. Unreal places, nature and human routes that shouldn't exist. Those crossings do not silence the forces beneath them. Rock shifts, salt corrodes, water cuts, and heat fractures. Engineers answer with cliff cuts, stacked hairpins, tunnels, causeways, and bridges exposed to wind and surf. But legends often turn documented hazards into easy slogans, hiding the harder work of design and maintenance. I want to understand where natural force ends, where human intervention begins, and what keeps these routes open after construction. In this video, we examine how extreme geology formed these unreal places, and why every daring passage remains a fragile bargain with the ground. The road that once carried Vietnam's main north-south traffic now climbs above the tunnel that relieved it. The old National Route 1 alignment runs for roughly 21 kilometers and crests near 500 meters between Hue and Da Nang. Its name means Ocean Cloud Pass, and the name is a working warning. Mist can close around the hairpins, while rain and fast-changing mountain weather can reduce visibility without warning. Since the Hai Van Tunnel opened in 2005, most through traffic has taken a route more than 6 kilometers long beneath the ridge. The pass became quieter, but not harmless. The railway solves the same barrier differently, holding close to the shoreline through separate tunnels. Road, rail, and tunnel do not defeat the mountain, they divide exposure. Fortifications near the summit show why this crossing mattered before modern concrete. The saddle-linked coastal regions show height-controlled movement. Even now, the bargain depends on restraint. Cloud, bends, wet pavement, and changing visibility still set the pace on the old road. The mountain now divides the risk. Cloud still controls the old road, while the tunnel absorbs most through traffic below. Eight bridges carry a regional road across rock that barely rises above the North Atlantic. Over just 8 kilometers, County Road 64 jumps between skerries and islands where open water, shallow rock, and narrow channels ruled out an ordinary shoreline route. Opened in 1989, bridges and causeways gave island communities a direct mainland link. North Atlantic storms repeatedly damaged exposed work before completion. Storsøysundet Bridge turns that pressure into its defining shape. Its deck curves and rises unevenly, and from some approaches, perspective makes the roadway appear to stop in open air. The illusion is dramatic. The gradient is not. The real test comes from crosswinds, spray, hail, breaking waves, and visibility that can collapse without warning. Major storms can restrict or close exposed sections. Pull-offs matter too, because this remains a working road, and unpredictable slowing on a bridge adds another risk. Every joint, barrier, and surface therefore depends on inspection and repair. The route crosses the sea only while crews keep salt and weather from weakening it. After 8 spans, the bold line resolves into a quieter fact. The sea never stops testing the joints beneath it. Gold first forced a route into this canyon. Modern vehicles still inherit its margin for error. For roughly 20 kilometers above the Shotover River, an unsealed, mostly single-lane track cuts through schist slopes on blind bends with few passing bays. Gold discoveries drove miners and supply crews into this country in the 19th century. They cut the route directly from schist, leaving rough faces and retaining walls that still expose the labor behind that access. But the old geometry still governs every movement. Rain loosens gravel, frost cuts traction, and falling rock can alter a passable ledge before the next vehicle enters it. That exposure explains why many rental agreements ban the road even when it is open. Commercial tours use high-clearance vehicles and drivers who know the weather, the passing points, and the bends hidden ahead. Farther inside, the one-lane skipper's suspension bridge crosses high above the river, carrying an early 20th century answer to the same canyon problem. The labor remains visible in every hidden turn. The ledge stays usable only while skilled drivers, inspectors, and repair crews answer what weather changes. A mountain road solves its tightest turn by folding over itself. The Noose de sa Corbata rotates through 270 degrees, then carries traffic beneath its own loop. That knot is not decoration. It is engineer Antonio Parietti's answer to steep limestone that left too little room for a conventional bend. The route descends about 13 kilometers from Col dels Reis through the Serra de Tramuntana to Sacalobra. Repeated switchbacks shed height without forcing a direct plunge. Opened in 1933, it remains a precise fit rather than an easy road. Rock faces, retaining walls, sharp drops, and short sight lines compress every encounter. At busy hours, coaches, rental cars, motorcycles, and cyclists occupy the same narrow lanes. A long bus may halt both directions before it can clear a bend. The main test is not broken pavement. It is geometry under pressure, intensified by the crowds heading towards Sacalobra and Torrent de Pareis. Every successful descent therefore depends on restraint, inspection, and repair. I keep returning to Parietti's knot. Human skill did not flatten the limestone. It found exactly enough space to pass. Champagne pool fizzes, but its bubbles rise through water hot and mineralized enough to make direct contact unsafe. A hydrothermal eruption excavated its crater about 900 years ago. Today it spans roughly 65 meters and reaches about 60 meters deep. Champagne Pool lies in Waio Tapu, inside New Zealand's Taupo volcanic zone. Underground heat drives water and gas upward. The surface stays near 74 degrees Celsius and grows hotter below. Carbon dioxide rises through that water in a constant fine fizz, creating the name without making the pool drinkable or safe for bathing. Where hot water meets cooler air, silica and compounds containing arsenic and antimony settle out. They build the bright orange margin against paler sinter, making the chemistry visible. Overflow carries dissolved material beyond the rim toward Artist's Palette and Primrose Terrace, feeding linked channels and deposits across the geothermal field. Steam can hide the surface and shift geothermal odors across the boardwalk. Designated paths matter because the surrounding crust can be thin, chemically active, and hot enough to cause serious injury. The rising gas and growing mineral rim show that underground heat is still at work. The only safe human route remains at the edge. A working highway climbs a cliff by folding back on itself, with one paved turn stacked directly above another. SC39O rises toward nearly 1,500 meters, packing repeated paved hairpins into the Serra Geral escarpment between Loromula and Bomhardim da Serra. Resistant volcanic rock and older sedimentary layers built a steep, stepped face. That geology denies engineers a gradual slope, so the road gains height through tight turns held by retaining walls, barriers, cut slopes, and drainage channels. Those structures do not remove the pressure. Fog can conceal several bends at once. Heavy rain drives water and debris across the pavement, while frost and occasional ice reduce traction higher up. Long trucks and buses may need most of the available lane to turn. At the same time, local traffic between the coastal side and Santa Catarina's uplands must share this constrained climb with sightseeing vehicles. That mix turns every hairpin into more than a dramatic shape. Drainage must stay open, walls must hold, and damaged slopes must be cleared before the road can keep serving the region. The scale is startling. Each stacked bend lifts the road higher, yet survives only through drainage, reinforcement, and repair. "11 hairpins hold a narrow road beside a waterfall on a slope that shuts the route down every winter. Trollstigen climbs toward a plateau about 850 meters high, with gradients near 10% and bends fitted tightly beside Stigfossen. Opened in 1936, after years of difficult construction, this section of County Road 63 used stone walls, culverts, and bridges to occupy ground shaped by moving water. Its engineering did not remove the mountain's pressure. It concentrated that pressure into a narrow corridor. Cars, buses, cyclists, and stopping visitors still share dimensions set before modern traffic loads. On the sharpest turns, long vehicles consume much of the available width, so timing and restraint matter as much as engine power. Then snow takes the pass out of service. Crews clear deep drifts, inspect barriers, mend frost damage, and assess avalanche and rockfall exposure before access can resume. Even after the normal snow season, loose mountainside material can extend restrictions and trigger stabilization work. An expected opening date means little without current inspections and official approval. Each reopening is provisional. Crews clear drifts, inspect barriers, mend frost damage, and decide whether all 11 bends are ready for traffic again. The lowest ground in North America also traps some of the planet's fiercest heat. Badwater Basin lies about 86 meters below sea level, while Furnace Creek holds the recognized world air temperature record, nearly 57 degrees Celsius. Successive mountain ranges strip moisture from Pacific air before it reaches the valley. As air descends into the basin, it compresses and warms. Evaporation then concentrates salt at Badwater, where the crust repeatedly breaks into polygons. The record temperature was measured in 1913 and remains recognized by the World Meteorological Organization. Even so, scientists still debate parts of those early extreme readings. Mesquite Flat reveals a different balance. Dunes persist only because wind, sand supply, and the surrounding terrain keep feeding and holding them. Nor is this an empty wilderness. It is Timbisha Shoshone homeland, marked as well by mining, roads, and the long pressure of water use. Access remains a fragile bargain. Summer heat can turn a breakdown into a severe emergency, while rare storms can wash out roads and strand vehicles long after the rain. What strikes me is the endurance of both extremes. Badwater's salt keeps shifting, while the Mesquite Flat dunes still hold their ground. One of France's Great Canyon drives is not one road at all. The Gorge du Verdon stretches about 25 kilometers, and its limestone walls descend as much as 700 meters. The Verdon River cut into uplifted, fractured limestone, opening sheer walls, side ravines, and narrow ledges. Geology created the void. Every road must negotiate the broken rim rather than command the floor. The D952 follows much of the northern side. Across the gorge, the D71 traces the southern rim, so the crossing is a chain of separate approaches, not a continuous waterside circuit. Near La Palouse-sur-Verdon, the D23 Route des Crêtes forms a high loop with exposed overlooks. Parts may run one way or face seasonal limits, so direction must be checked in advance. Summer pressure comes from narrow lanes, blind bends, rockfall, motorcycles, cyclists, coaches, and vehicles turning into viewpoints. These overlaps cut speed and shrink the margin for correction. Winter replaces congestion with ice and storms. Below, regulated river sections draw paddlers, while climbers use the walls. That puts driving, climbing, and water activity into one confined corridor. 700 meters of geology permits passage only through narrow lanes, controlled direction, and patience. A field of fire nearly 70 meters wide has burned for decades in a vast Central Asian desert. The Darvaza crater drops about 30 meters, while methane escaping through fractured ground feeds dozens of separate flames. The fire is not continuous, and its glow becomes strongest after sunset. The famous origin story says Soviet drilling opened the ground and geologists lit the gas to halt its spread. Surviving documents do not confirm that sequence. Accounts differ over the collapse, the ignition, and the date. Some point to the 1970s, others point later. Reaching Darvaza exposes another hard fact. A long desert drive can end on unsealed sand tracks, where local transport and navigation matter. There is no urban buffer around the rim. Heat, fumes, unstable edges, darkness, and shifting wind limit every approach. Authorities have repeatedly considered reducing or extinguishing the fire because it wastes gas and releases methane and combustion products. Its future remains uncertain. Darvaza establishes the stakes. Underground force creates the obstacle, and human access remains provisional because neither side fully controls what burns here. "5,000 meters above sea level, a mountain carries bands of color through air too thin for ordinary effort. Vinicunca rises in Peru's Vilcanota Range, where red, yellow, green, gray, and pale strata cross a high Andean grazing landscape. The bands began as mineral-rich sediment. Mountain building tilted the layers. Weathering and erosion stripped them open, while iron oxides loaded parts of the slope with red and rust. Moisture and hard light can strengthen or flatten the colors, so the mountain often looks less saturated than edited photographs. This was never an unknown mountain waiting for outsiders. Quechua communities have long lived and herded around these heights, beneath Ausangate, regarded locally as a powerful, sacred mountain. Travel media made Vinicunca internationally prominent during the 2010s. Guides, drivers, and horse services gained income, but heavier traffic widened trails, eroded fragile alpine ground, and added waste. Reduced oxygen can bring headache, nausea, and dizziness. Acclimatization, slow movement, weather protection, and the judgment to turn back matter more than ordinary fitness. Nature opened Vinicunca's bands. Keeping them intact now depends on lighter traffic, careful footing, and the discipline to stop. Warm water is still building Pamukkale's white mountainside, yet keeping it white now requires strict human control. For thousands of years, calcium-rich springs have laid travertine terraces above the Büyük Menderes Valley, one thin mineral coat at a time. Underground, water dissolves calcium carbonate from the rock. At the surface, cooling and escaping carbon dioxide force that mineral back out, coating channels, rims, and shallow basins. The terraces keep changing, but whiteness survives only where clean water flows and erosion is restrained. That balance is actively managed. Water is routed between sections for conservation, so it does not cover the entire slope equally at all times. Shoes must come off in designated walking and bathing zones, while many terraces remain closed. The rule limits stains and wear on a surface. The springs rebuild slowly. Earlier hotels and uncontrolled use damaged Pamukkale. Intrusive buildings were removed, and stronger protection under UNESCO management changed how tourism occupies the slope. Above it, Hierapolis preserves the streets, theater, temples, and baths of a Greco-Roman spa city built around the same thermal resource. The link moves me. The same water built the terraces and sustained Hierapolis above. A strategic road spends much of every year closed by the mountain it was built to cross. Romania's DN7C climbs above 2,000 meters near Balia Lake, then passes beneath the main Făgăraș Ridge through a tunnel almost 900 meters long. Built largely from 1970 to 1974, the project followed security concerns heightened after Warsaw Pact forces entered Czechoslovakia. It was meant to secure passage across the southern Carpathians. Military personnel and civilian crews cut into steep rock with blasting, heavy excavation, retaining walls, and avalanche protection. 4 years of work forced a corridor where the slope offered no easy line. On the northern ascent, long switchbacks stack above the Balia Valley before reaching the lake. To me, every bend records labor against gravity, broken rock, and severe weather. Then the mountain reasserts control. Snow and avalanche danger close the high section for much of the year, making this a seasonal crossing rather than a dependable shortcut. Even in summer, fog, rockfall, livestock, cyclists, tight curves and traffic can slow the road. The 4-year build opened the route. Monitoring and protection decide when that achievement can function. A white plain bigger than some countries can erase the difference between ground and sky. Salar de Uyuni spans more than 10,000 square kilometers at nearly 3,700 meters, making it the world's largest salt flat. Its apparent emptiness is the residue of enormous prehistoric lakes. As those waters contracted, they left salt and mineral-rich brine across an almost level basin. In dry months, expansion and contraction crack the crust into repeating polygons. With almost nothing for scale, distance stops behaving normally. Seasonal rain changes the problem. A shallow sheet can turn the surface into a vast mirror, but its timing, depth, cloud cover, and passable routes shift every year. Too much water closes crossings and can isolate cactus-covered Inkawasi Island. Local drivers rely on known tracks and landmarks, steering around flooded edges, soft crust, and sensitive ground. Cold nights, intense ultraviolet exposure, storms, altitude, and vehicle failure make every crossing dependent on preparation and reliable machinery. Below lies lithium-bearing brine, bringing extraction, water, infrastructure, and development onto the same ground. The mirror that erases distance makes the bargain clear. Natural force built an unreal surface, while every route and industrial plan depends on reading its limits. Caustic water becomes a vast breeding refuge at Lake Natron. Intense evaporation can push the lake toward pH 10.5 by trapping sodium carbonate and other salts in a basin with no outlet. Rivers, seasonal runoff, hot springs, and mineral-rich drainage feed the basin. With no route to the sea, heat removes water and leaves concentrated minerals. Under suitable conditions, salt-tolerant cyanobacteria and other microorganisms turn sections red, pink, or orange. Those same organisms help feed lesser flamingos. When water exposes salty mudflats and isolated breeding areas, vast flocks can gather. Specialized feeding and tolerance for saline water let lesser flamingos exploit a habitat that excludes many competitors. The alkaline mud discourages mammalian predators. It also keeps people back, because contact can irritate skin and eyes. Rainfall, temperature, and lake depth change both the color and the flocks. Claims that Natron instantly turns animals to stone exaggerate its chemistry. The stony appearance comes from later mineral coatings. The reversal is the point. Chemistry that keeps people back helps flamingos hold a breeding refuge. Adaptation does not neutralize Lake Natron. It turns caustic mud and scarce competition into protection. An island cut off from continents has produced a forest that looks engineered for another planet. Socotra is the largest island in a Yemeni archipelago between the Arabian Sea and Gulf of Aden. Roughly 1/3 of its plant species grow nowhere else. Millions of years of separation did not work alone. Dry air, limestone, and changing elevation forced life to hold water and resist exposure. On the Dixam Plateau, dragon's blood trees spread umbrella-shaped crowns that shade roots and trap moisture. Their red resin has long supplied dye, medicine, and trade. Bottle trees store water in swollen trunks. Frankincense grips dry limestone, where repeated shortage shaped every form. But Socotra is no sealed biological museum. Socotri and Arabic-speaking communities herd animals, fish, grow dates, and keep limited trade, moving through the same harsh ground. Seasonal monsoon winds can break air and sea links, while sparse roads turn short distances into long operations. Isolation protects rare life, yet it makes every supply line and repair more fragile. Under those crowns, isolation cuts both ways. It shelters rare life and turns every supply run, road repair, and seasonal connection into an act of endurance. A salt lake roughly 600 meters long holds a persistent pink color within sight of the blue Southern Ocean. Only a narrow belt of dunes and vegetation separates Lake Hillier from open water, making the contrast strongest from the air. Matthew Flinders recorded it in 1802, but its color is still not pinned to one proven cause. Researchers have found salt-tolerant algae, bacteria, and archaea in the brine. In highly saline water, some of these organisms produce red and orange pigments. No single species, including Dunaliella salina, has been shown to control the color. The stronger explanation points to many microbes acting within concentrated brine. Light and viewing conditions can also change the apparent intensity. The color is unmistakable, but seeing it from the air is easier than studying a small protected lake at close range. Middle Island is remote and protected. With landings restricted, most observation comes from authorized flights or offshore tours. For now, protection begins with distance. A national highway climbs into air so thin that the mountain can shut it for much of the year. Kunzum Pass crosses the range at roughly 4,550 meters, linking Lahal and Spiti on National Highway 505. From Batal, the western approach gains height through tight bends. From near Losar, the eastern road reaches across a dry, high-altitude expanse. Neither side grants the road permanence. Snow buries the pass for long months. Reopening follows no fixed date. It depends on weather, snow clearance, landslide repair, and the condition left beneath the thaw. That detail changes the meaning of the route. The crossing exists not because the range was mastered once, but because crews inspect, clear, rebuild, and reopen it again. Above 4,500 meters, thin air reduces human and engine performance. Loose rock and meltwater crossings add fresh demands, while mechanical help can remain a long distance away. The long climb from Batal to the Kunzum Mata shrine leaves one hard conclusion. The mountain sets the terms, and human will keeps this passage open only through repeated labor. Bicycle speed reveals what cars hide on the Shimanami Kaido. Across roughly 70 kilometers, the Shimanami Kaido links Onomichi and Imabari over 6 main islands, climbing onto bridges high above working shipping channels. Completed in 1999, the corridor defeated distance without removing effort. Every high deck demands a long access ramp, then drops toward ports, villages, citrus groves, shrines, and coastal neighborhoods. Tatara Bridge solves one gap with a commanding span. Kurushima Kaikyo answers a wider break with a three-part crossing above busy maritime channels. What strikes me is the discipline beneath that freedom. Dedicated paths, separated approaches, route markings, rentals, rest stops, repair services, and ferry alternatives turn a bold crossing into a managed route. Managed does not mean effortless. Accumulated climbing, summer heat, rain and crosswinds on exposed decks can drain strength before the final island. Once more dependent on ferries, the region is now bound by road, alongside shipyards, fishing harbors, and cultivated hillsides. By the final island, the achievement is not the span alone, but the chain of ramps, markings, rest stops, ferries, and repairs that carries a tired rider through. More than 1,200 near-matching limestone cones rise from one island, yet none was built, and none is an extinct volcano. Across central Bohol, ancient marine limestone was lifted above sea level, then worked by rain and erosion across immense spans of time. Rainwater becomes mildly acidic as it passes through soil and vegetation. It enters joints, dissolves the rock, and opens pathways for more water to follow. Softer ground between the limestone masses washes away. The resistant cores remain, packed close together as cones and domes with remarkably similar profiles. This is vast karst, not a field of artificial mounds. The repetition is startling because water and erosion produced it without a plan. Thin grass changes the entire reading of the land. Wet months turn the slopes green, dry months turn them brown, and give the hills their chocolate name. Stories of giants offer another explanation, while farms and settlements occupy the low ground between protected hills. Daily life presses into every gap. At Carmen and Sagbayan, observation stairs concentrate visitors at fixed viewpoints. Heat, sudden rain, and crowds expose the practical challenge. Make the pattern legible without spreading traffic across protected slopes. A basin below sea level is being pulled apart, yet the sea cannot reach it. In Ethiopia's Afar region, the Arabian, Nubian, and Somali tectonic systems separate, while air temperatures commonly exceed 45 degrees Celsius. Surrounding high ground blocks the ocean. Heat and evaporation then concentrate salt across broad plains, creating the flats worked by Afar laborers. Near Dalol, groundwater heated below the surface rises through salt and volcanic deposits. Acidic brines, sulfur, iron compounds, and other minerals build yellow, green, white, and orange crusts. Bright colors do not mean stable ground. Crusts can be thin, gases collect low, and intense heat narrows the margin for error. Dalol is not Erta Ale. The hydrothermal fields and the separate active volcanic area belong to the same wider region, but they are not interchangeable. This is also a worked landscape. Near Lake Karum, Afar laborers cut salt blocks, and camel caravans have carried them toward markets for generations. Limited water, vehicle breakdowns, permits, security conditions, and uncertain crust can halt movement without warning. Local guidance is essential, not optional. Danakil's unreal ground makes the bargain concrete. Tectonic force opens it, and endurance keeps salt moving. The safest line along this cliff was built away from the land. Seacliff Bridge carries Lawrence Hargrave Drive for about 450 meters above the Tasman Sea, beyond the slope that repeatedly threatened the old road. Rock falls and unstable ground had forced that cliff-hugging route to close. Repairing pavement beneath the same failing escarpment no longer answered the cause. The replacement opened in 2005 with a harder decision: move traffic seaward. Piers placed away from the most unstable slope gave the road a new foundation. Balanced cantilever construction made that shift possible. Deck sections advanced outward in stages, reducing the temporary support needed in rough coastal water. The curve preserved a working north-south connection near Clifton, but distance from the cliff did not end exposure. It exchanged one pressure for several others. Salt spray drives corrosion. Wind loads the open deck, waves complicate work near the foundations, and the surrounding escarpment still demands monitoring. Maintenance now runs on two fronts: corrosion from the sea and continued movement in the escarpment. The cantilever's achievement is distance, enough separation from unstable rock for that continued care to work. A stone surface appears to flow, yet a few careless steps can mark it faster than the desert can repair it. The wave lies in Coyote Butte's north, near the Utah-Arizona border, where millions of years of wind and water exposed bands of Navajo sandstone. Its red, orange, pink, and cream lines are crossbeds first stacked inside ancient wind-built dunes. Sand hardened into rock, tilted, then yielded unevenly as erosion removed softer layers. Water continued cutting channels and smoothing edges, leaving solid rock with the shape of liquid motion. Access depends on Bureau of Land Management permit lotteries, with quotas and rules set by current official guidance. The limit protects thin sandstone edges and biological soil crusts. Unrestricted foot traffic could wear both down quickly. So the route remains a fragile bargain. Access is granted, but the ground cannot absorb a crowd. No established marked trail covers the entire approach. Mobile reception is unreliable, so independent navigation is essential. Summer temperatures can pass 38 degrees Celsius with little shade. Distant storms can also drive runoff and flash flooding through washes and access roads. The wave keeps its lines only while permits and careful footing hold traffic below what fragile sandstone can bear. A highway climbs into air so thin that rebuilding it can matter as much as building it. The Karakoram Highway runs roughly 1,300 kilometers from Hassan Abdal to Kashgar and reaches about 4,700 meters near Kunjarab Pass. Pakistan and China built the modern road through the 1960s and 70s, following corridors that had carried communities and trade for centuries. But pavement did not neutralize the mountains. Altitude, glaciers, rockfall, landslides, and severe winter weather keep pressing on every exposed section. Inspection and repair are not support work here. They are what allow the route to remain a route. That bargain broke at Atabad in 2010. A landslide blocked the Hunza River, raised a lake, and submerged part of the highway. The answer was not a temporary track around the water. New tunnels opened in 2015, carrying the highway through rock and restoring continuous travel. That response changed the meaning of the highway. When geology erased the old passage, engineers changed the road's shape. Today it remains a strategic link through the Hunza Valley. Kunjarab proves the point. Access near 4,700 meters survives only through reinforcement and repair. Broad asphalt switchbacks rise from the Ras Al Khaimah plain over rock lifted from an ancient ocean floor toward Jebel Jais, the UAE's highest mountain at about 1,900 meters. The Hajar Mountains were lifted and folded, leaving exposed limestone, sharp ridges, and steep wadis. Broad switchbacks spread the climb across the ridges. Barriers, cut slopes, retaining structures, and drainage channels turn a severe ascent into a managed paved route. That width matters. It lets the road gain height more gradually than an old mountain track, while opening long views over the coastal plain. The public road does not reach the actual summit area, and the viewpoints remain below it. Even there, temperatures can be markedly cooler than on the plain, while cloud and strong wind can erase visibility. Dry weather dominates, but intense storms change the mountain quickly. Water and debris surge through wadis, so drainage is not decoration. It is what keeps access workable. Cyclists, tourist vehicles, stopping traffic, and nighttime visitors share the same engineered climb. Jebel Jais closes the pattern seen worldwide. Bold geometry opens a way, but restraint, barriers, drains, inspection, and repair, not conquest, keep it open. For 64 kilometers, a road once forced buses and trucks onto a shelf, often barely wider than one vehicle. It descends from cold ground above 4,000 meters toward the humid valleys near Karakoram. That drop builds the hazard. Cloud, rain, waterfalls, vegetation, and loose material press directly onto a narrow cut in the Andes. Overhanging rock closes one side. On the other, steep drops remain largely unprotected, while blind bends hide traffic moving the opposite way. When this was the main connection, buses, trucks, and local traffic met at scarce passing places. Drivers kept toward the exposed edge where wheel position could be judged. Reports of hundreds of losses mainly describe that earlier era, not a timeless annual toll. A safer paved replacement opened in 2006 and now carries most traffic. The old road now serves mainly guided downhill cyclists and limited local vehicles. Fog, rockfall, waterfalls, opposing traffic, and occasional serious incidents still demand control. I return to the pressure carried by drivers across 64 kilometers. The Andes made the obstacle. A new road eased the burden, but the old shelf still demands discipline. The river stopped arriving centuries ago. The grove is still standing. Across Deadvlay's white clay, dark camel thorn trunks have endured roughly 6 to 9 centuries, ringed by some of the Namibe's tallest red dunes. The basin lies within the Socotra River's desert reach, an erratic current that can carry floodwater inland but normally disappears before the Atlantic. Centuries ago, those floods arrived often enough for camel thorns to take root. Then migrating dunes blocked the channel, water stopped entering the pan, and new growth became impossible. The trunks are not petrified. Extreme dryness slowed the wood's breakdown, preserving blackened trunks where moisture would normally erase them. The scene is not timeless desert, but a river route cut off by moving sand. Reaching the pan exposes the same pressure. Deep sand demands a four-wheel drive vehicle or shuttle, and the final walk demands water and protection from hard sun and heat. The clay and ancient trunks are finite, so every footstep matters. Protection means keeping traffic from grinding away the evidence. Here, water built the grove, dunes cut its supply, and dryness held the black trunks in place. A landmass about 73 kilometers wide was built by repeated eruptions and now carries farms, villages, trails, and coastal roads. At its center, Halasan rises nearly 2,000 meters, the broad shield volcano around which the rest of Jeju formed. Lava spread outward and hardened into dark coastlines, fertile soil, smaller cones called orium, and long underground tubes. The geomunorium network preserves those passages. On the eastern coast, Seongsan Il Chulbong records a different event. Magma met shallow water and built a tough cone. Its sunrise route is separate from the climb up Halasan. On the south coast, Jongbang Waterfall drops from a cliff beside the sea. This is a Korean tourism distinction, not grounds for an Asia-wide claim. Volcanic rock also governs ordinary work. Stone walls brace fields, citrus grows in the island's soil, and Henyo freedivers continue harvesting from the surrounding water. Distance is the hidden pressure. Sites and villages lie far apart, so a rental vehicle or a carefully coordinated bus plan prevents rural connections from turning into long waits. Jeju's scale comes from hard balance. Volcanic force built the ground. Roots, walls, farms, and coastal labor keep it usable. Some of Mono Lake's strangest towers became visible only because the lake was pulled downward. 20th century diversions to Los Angeles lowered this ancient basin, exposing limestone formations beneath water roughly 2 to 3 times as salty as the ocean. Tufa begins where calcium-rich spring water meets carbonate-rich lake water. Limestone gathers around a spring outlet, building a tower below the surface. Once exposed to air, that growth stops. Exposure also makes each tower vulnerable to erosion and physical damage. These structures look hard, but their survival now depends on restraint at the shoreline. The falling water tightened pressure across the lake. Salinity rose, while new land connections gave predators access to some bird nesting areas. That matters because this is not an empty mineral basin. Algae feed enormous populations of brine shrimp and alkali flies, which in turn support migratory and nesting birds. Public campaigning, litigation, and a California water decision in 1994 imposed limits and set restoration targets intended to raise and stabilize the lake. Recovery became a matter of controlling what people removed. Here, upkeep means restraint rather than more construction. Protect brittle towers, limit water diversions, and let recovery begin with what people stop removing. A concrete line nearly 11 kilometers long crosses open water with no room to move inland. Seven-Mile Bridge carries the overseas highway from Knights Key to Little Duck Key, while an older railway-era crossing runs beside it for much of the distance. Opened in 1982, the present bridge replaced an aging crossing first built for Henry Flagler's Overseas Railway. Parts of the older structure had carried cars after rail service ended. The old piers and trusses still lead toward Pigeon Key, where railroad workers were once housed. Beside them, the newer deck rests low over water, except where it rises above Moser Channel for boats. The parallel makes the cost visible. One crossing still working, the other preserving the demands of an earlier age. Saltwater attacks concrete and steel. Intense sun, marine wind, and continuous traffic turn inspection and repair into the hidden structure beneath the visible bridge. Low elevation brings another price. Tropical storms can drive high winds, storm surge, and debris across the corridor, while evacuation controls can close it completely. For the Keys, this is a lifeline whose reliability is measured in inspections, corrosion repairs, and storm closures. The lesson is not that engineering conquers nature. Every crossing is a bargain with shifting rock, rising water, salt, heat, and exposed coastlines. Concrete and steel establish a route. Inspection, drainage, reinforcement, and repair keep it open. I see the audacity differently once that distinction is clear. A mountain road or ocean bridge is not a finished victory. It is a permanent obligation. That burden will grow as stronger storms and unstable slopes press exposed links. Tourism slogans may exaggerate risk, while disputed legends and outdated claims blur the facts. Maintenance records tell the harder truth. The power of this age is not simply the ability to cross barriers once treated as final. It is the discipline to keep those crossings secure without pretending the ground has surrendered. Continue this documentary series as it tests more impossible routes against the forces beneath them, judging human resolve not by initial construction, but by the care that keeps each crossing open.